Okay. Here is Joseph Choong. Okay, so started. Does anyone have other questions?
Joe, no country before has ever won gold in both the men's and women's pentathlon at the same Olympics. What does this mean for British modern pentathlon, do you think, especially having not won a medal in Rio?
Is this working? I think it just sort of goes to show that some of the staff we've got have been absolutely fantastic. Specifically the performance team, we've got like working on the ground. We've got Marco Cotrini, the men's coach, but he obviously works with the girls as well. Mikkel Janka is another. He's the fencing coach basically for most of the team, and I think it just goes to show like how well the coaches like understand the athletes, and there's a two-way relationship that just sort of breeds a culture of performance.
Joe, can you just remind us about how you started out in the sport and getting into it? And also Kate Allenby tweeted that when at school, Charlie Unwin rang her and said, "I've got a future Olympic champion," when you were like 13. So yeah, tell us a bit about that as well.
Well, I don't know about. Well, obviously he was right. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how true that is, or if that's a bit of exaggeration. I remember he selected me for a school's biathlon team. That's how I got into it. My brother was chosen for the team, and I asked if I could get involved and start the shooting, which is like part of modern triathlon, which is sort of the gateway to the whole sport. And yeah, like I was never a fantastic swimmer, but I played rugby. I did a lot of other sports as well, and was a decent swimmer. I could run, and I think that's quite unusual. So I did well at the school's biathlon, and then I got picked as the wild card to the under-16 European champs, which I ended up winning. And like obviously the success is pretty fun. So yeah, I was just encouraged to like keep going, picking up the fencing and the horse riding, and well, here I am today.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we've obviously heard the stories of the shooting range that you set up in lockdown. Can you just tell us a bit more about that? And you know, after what happened in Rio, it's perhaps helped you in today.
Yeah, obviously going into lockdown and then obviously having the Olympics cancelled were pretty inconvenient for an athlete. Like at the end of 2019, I was world number one. I was winning medals pretty much every competition, nearly. And so it was a pretty dark time in terms of just mentally for me. I didn't suffer anything severe, but I was just sort of unmotivated. I didn't train for a couple of weeks. Just didn't want to, because I was like, what's the point? There's at least 12 months of no competitions, and that is at the end of the day why you train. So it sort of started out as just a bit of fun with my housemate Sam Curry, who's also in the like performance centre at Bath, and yeah, we just set up some targets on some steps. We sort of guessed which step was the right height for a shooting range, and counted to 10 when we like strode to where we had a table, and just started shooting there, having some fun, sort of like attaching a target to ourselves and sort of running whilst the other one tried to hit us. So it literally started out as a bit of fun, but it ended up being pretty decent training, I think.
Yes. Hi, Joe. Now, you've won the event in brilliant fashion. You've spoken before about the changes that are coming. Does that make you think, do I need to go through this again, even if it's a shorter cycle with 3 years, if it's an event that seems to be being truncated for odd purposes?
I'm not sure that it's odd purposes as such. I think the sport does need to evolve. I think we've been basically being told that, just to keep up with like how exciting some of the modern sports are. But I will have to see how this new format suits me. It's obviously it's going to require a different set of skills, and it's whether I have them, whether I can adapt to have them, and how much I want that, because at the end of the day, it is going to be difficult. To be honest, one of the biggest things for me is going to be my brother. Like, obviously winning an Olympic medal is amazing, but competing in Olympics with my brother would be pretty close to that. So I think that's going to be a big factor if we can sort of pull him through at the training centre and get him to the level he needs to be.
Joe, I think you said you don't normally get emotional on the podium, but it seemed like you were a little bit. What were your thoughts at that point? Who are you thinking of who's been part of this journey?
Well, too many people to count. Big ones are just sort of all the support I've heard from back home, my old swimming clubs, school, uni friends, and just sort of everyone from my life growing up. And then obviously family, mum, dad, my brother, who I've just mentioned, and my grandma. My granddad passed away a few years ago, just after Rio, and he wasn't well enough to make it out there to watch. And obviously I didn't quite medal there. So I know it will have meant a lot to her to have sort of seen it. She's been like nagging me to how excited she is to come out ever since Rio, how she's excited to come and see me at Tokyo and how I'm going to win a medal. And well, she was half right, so I'm pleased for her.
Is your brother's name Harry? Is that correct?
Henry,
sorry.
I will find it funny if you call him Harry.
Okay. Obviously, he was at the Youth Olympics as well. Can you just tell us a bit about your relationship with him then, and a bit more about how he's faring?
Yeah, so obviously when you're younger, having a competition every 4 years isn't possible for some people. And he was, I think, a year young. So like he was competing against the guys a year older. So I think he came 11th, which was okay. But just the experience was amazing for him. He absolutely loved it. And he always boasted that he's the first Olympian in the family. And then after that, he left school and he's the clever one. So he went to Cambridge to study maths, and he just sort of did pentathlon for fun. And obviously, like, to compete at the top level, you need to be training pretty seriously day in, day out. You can't be going off to play badminton and table tennis every other day. So I guess he's only 2 years younger than me, but he is sort of 4 years behind in terms of training. So he's at the level that you'd expect of someone that age. So like, I think he can do it. He's got the same blood as me, so why not?
When Ahmed pulled up beside you there late in that final lap or circuit, did you feel like you had a kick that you could beat him down the stretch, or were you looking over your shoulder a little bit there?
I think anyone who's followed the sport since 2019 knew there was only going to be one person winning that last 800. Yeah, I've traditionally always had a really quick finish, and I paced it sort of tactically, knowing that some of the faster runners would front load their races, so that if that did happen and they caught me with two or one of the 800s to go, I could have like put a lot more effort in and beat them to the line.
Just a thought, following on from that, was there any point in the competition that you thought, hang on, it might go wrong? I'm thinking particularly of the equestrian, where you have to draw lots for the horses, and you might have got something like happened yesterday.
Yeah, that was the German girl. Annika got a bit unlucky. It's always difficult because you have to rely on the rider before you, because if they sort of have a bit of difficulty with the horse, it can really upset them, just the horse mentally for the second rider, and that's what happened to her. So just really upset for Annika, to be honest. But yeah, when I was drawing that ball out with the horse's number, I was just thinking, like, don't get one of those, don't get one of the difficult ones. And I got the same one Kate got, so it's obviously a bit of a lucky charm.
Just a question about that race as well, Joe. Whatever changes in pentathlon, the laser run is a pretty thrilling way for Olympic medals to be decided. What can this do for modern pentathlon? You think that so many people will have watched you in that race and thought, wow, that was something?
Yeah, I hadn't really thought of that before this, but hopefully it put on a good show, because I think I wasn't really aware of what was behind me, but am I right? It was a pretty exciting race all the way through. I was focusing on trying to stay in the front. But yeah, like it's just awesome, isn't it? How one person like with the most points starts, and then it's sort of staggered, so that literally the first person across the line. It makes it a really obvious sort of race as to who's in the lead, and it can just change so much, because you could have a fast runner who struggles on a shoot, or vice versa, and you can never really predict with any certainty what's going to happen, and it is very exciting.
Any other questions? Okay.
Hi, my name is Max. I'm from the German newswire DPA. You were just mentioning what happened yesterday to Annika. Is there anything you would think would have to change in order for that to be not happening, to prevent something like that?
Hi, Max. I think, well, one, the countries need to but maybe should put more resources into becoming better riders. I'm not from a horse background myself, so I feel like I can't say this, but like the girls from Britain came into the sport through sort of pony club eventing, and they're fantastic riders. And when you get like a horse, which is, you saw in the test jumping, they were all capable horses, like when ridden professionally. So I think that's just sort of closing the gap between some of the pentathlete riders and proper riding, and how to deal with like well-trained horses, not just some of the horses that we get in the World Cup circuit.